Hi, Todd VanDenburg here with VanDenburg Capital Management and another Uncommon Sense update. So since our last update, it's pretty much the same as it ever was. We've had the markets going up and down, like with the Dow, it drops to around 23,000 and then goes up to around 24,000 and drops back down and goes back up. This has sort of been, the market's trying to figure out, what is the right value for based upon, the economy and where we're headed. And so I found it interesting this morning as I was following some of the news on CNBC that a couple of well-respected industry professionals, one David Tepper came out and said he thinks that the market's more overvalued today than at any other time that he knows, other than one other time. And the markets, immediately dropped. The markets did not react well to that kind of a statement. So very late in the day, another industry professional, Bill Miller, came out and said, well, he doesn't think that the markets are overvalued. So who's right? I mean, can they both be right? And the answer is, yeah, they maybe can be right because it depends on what data you use. So for David Tepper, if you use the data based upon where we are today, what current sales, current earnings are today, they've been hammered. I mean, earnings for publicly traded company and revenue is just getting decimated. And so if you use that data based upon where we are today, yes, the markets are overvalued. But if you use the data that says, okay, well, but once we get things opened up, where will we be? What will things look like? Then, Bill Miller is probably closer to right because, he's taking into account where will we be once things open up? Like how much economic loss will there actually, long-term economic loss will there be once we sort of get back to whatever the new normal is? So how do we get back to the new normal? Well, as shown by a chart here, what we have is, most states in the United States have started the process of slowly transitioning to a more sort of open state, not completely open, not telling everybody to, take off their masks and telling high-risk people to, go out and let, 20-year-olds sneeze on them. What we're talking about are sort of a phased approach to, opening up businesses and then seeing how that, what the hospitalization rate looks like, see if the fatality rate, ticks up. But, that's happening with most of the states in the United States. And so that's a good sign. You can't get to where we need to be without starting the process of getting there. Now, there's all kinds of people who would argue that, gee, those states are being dumb and they're starting too soon. And I'm not going to get into that. That's a whole different discussion. But what we do know is that as more states open up, there will be more economic activity. More people will come off unemployment. The economy will start to pick up as far as people spending more money on a whole variety of things. There could be a lot of pent-up demand for things like travel that people had to cancel and will now start to come back on. So I guess the long and short of this is, it's really difficult to know where things are going until we know what the government's going to do to allow things to try to get back to normal. And that's just the big unknown. I mean, if you'd have asked me 2.5 months ago, would we still be as shut down as we are today? I wouldn't have said yes, because we've never taken these actions before. So if someone tries to ask me, well, where are we going to be 3 months from now? I can't really tell you with any certainty, because if the government says, hey, we're going to pull things back again, and we're going to keep everybody isolated, and the government's going to borrow a few more $1 trillion to try to make up for lost economic activity, then I'd have a different answer than if some pharmaceutical company comes up with a vaccine or some sort of a treatment that completely changes the face of this virus as it stands today. So there's so many unknowns that we just have to sort of go with what we know. And what we do know is there are 33 million unemployed people, and the overwhelming majority of those people will not be unemployed once they're allowed to go back to a job. So we know that not 100% of this economic activity loss that we're seeing right now that causes David Tepper to say that he thinks that things are way overvalued, that not all of that is going to remain once we open things up. So since we can't know exactly when that's going to change, I'm still recommending that people just continue to be patient, continue to keep your cash reserves, don't get greedy, don't get overly fearful, and just, pay attention to things that are not people's opinion, but on real data. And sadly, in the media these days, we get a lot of people talking about things as if it's data, but it's really their opinion. They're sort of drawing a conclusion from the data and then telling you the conclusion as if it were a fact. So anybody who says that they know where things are going has an inside track that nobody else has, because, again, we have two leading industry professionals who have completely different opinions about where we are right now. So again, we just recommend that everybody remain patient, don't get greedy, don't get too fearful, and just stay as safe as you can. And by all means, if you're in the high risk category, or if you're a little older, just be extra careful. Don't let your grandkids show up at your house and come in without masks, without washing their hands. I mean, there are categories of people that are at higher risk to COVID-19, and all of those people need to be, really careful about what they do until we have some sort of a really solid treatment and or a vaccine that can make it safer for them. So if anybody has any questions about this or anything else, just please call me, email me. I'm always here. I've been getting here at 6:30 in the morning and leaving at 5 o'clock at night, and this has been my daily life ever since this outbreak started. So that was your update. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give us a like, give us a share, and I'll be back again with another Uncommon Sense update. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to be the first to hear of more Uncommon Sense updates like these, please click the subscribe button below. We'd really appreciate it. Thanks again.